Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond Dafeet. In today's video we're going to be checking out the Asics Gel-Kayano 27. We're going to quickly run down what this shoe is and then we're going to compare it to other brands. Let's jump into it. Start with the Asics Gel-Kayano 27 is a great stability daily trainer. It has maximum support around your heel, that nice guidance running throughout the medial side or the inside of the foot, and with that trussic as well as the flat frame propel at your forefoot, you do get that nice kind of snappy release at your toe off, and away you go. Awesome daily trainer for someone who goes to roll in or pronates. So if you need that added support on the medial side, this shoe will work really nicely for you. It's your 27th iteration of this guy, one of your oldest series in terms of shoes in general that are still on the market today, and it is an awesome shoe. A lot of people love it. Most people who wear the Gel-Kayano go back to them day in, day out, as they are a very durable daily trainer. One of the firmer shoes on the market. However, if you are someone who needs that maximum stability around the heel and also on that medial side, this shoe will work really nicely for you. Quick tech breakdown before we jump into the comparison. Looking at your outer sole, you've got your slightly firmer rubber around your heel, but when you do heel strike, it's going to be nice and durable, and you got a little bit more of that AHA plus kind of bouncy rubber at your forefoot. So a bit more of that air-blown rubber, which gives you a little bit more cushioning in the rubber itself. We're going to be looking about 800 to 1000 Ks out of these quite easily, and they are going to be nice and durable, and they're going to be very sticky in the wet with that slightly softer rubber at the forefoot. So if you're someone who doesn't want a slippery shoe at all, this shoe will work nicely. They made the flex grooves a little bit deeper in the forefoot to help for that toe off, a little bit more flexible than last season's model. So this shoe in the rubber works great. Looking at your midsole, you got about 4 different components in the shoe. You got your gel at your heel for that shock absorption. You got that dynamic Duro Max, that firmer cushioning system, or that firmer piece wrapping on the medial side and also all the way around the heel. That's your little bit extra stability. So if you go to roll in, that's going to hold you nice and straight. And you also got your trussic underneath just to stop any kind of torsion. They've been using that system for quite a while and it does work well. Adds a little bit of weight to the shoe, but it is one of your firmer stability systems that is on the market right now. And you got your nice soft cushioning in your flat frame propel at your forefoot area. So this cushioning system is one of the better ones Asics have done. It's nice and snappy at your forefoot. You don't sink too far into it, like it feels somewhat soft, but it is nice and bouncy and it gets you off your toe quite nicely. So the back half of the shoe does feel quite rigid and firm, but that's what you want out of a stability shoe. If you're someone who rolls a fair bit, you don't want it to be too soft and sink in too far. So this will guide you nicely, and you got that nice cushioning at your forefoot. Looking at the upper, really nice seamless upper all the way through. That jacquard mesh is really dialed in well in the new Gel-Kayano 27s. And they dropped a little bit of weight out of the heel counter. Still a nice external heel counter with plenty of padding around the collar. So overall it is a very comfortable shoe. Does feel quite rigid at the back, but that's what you want out of a stability shoe. Alright, let's jump into the comparisons. Checking out the Asics Gel-Kayano 27 up against the Saucony Hurricane 22. Both these shoes are up there in terms of your best stability shoes on the market right now. So what's the difference? Why would you pick up this guy over this guy, or vice versa? Looking at the Asics to start with, it is a more rigid stability system. So if you are someone who severely pronates or pronates quite a fair bit, this shoe will provide you with more support on the inside, as opposed to the Hurricane, which just has that medial posting wrapping on the inside. It's not going to be as structured, as the Gel-Kayano uses that firm piece all the way through that midfoot area. So if you're someone who wants a harsher stability system, look towards the Gel-Kayano. If you're someone who just kind of wants that little bit of medial support just in that midfoot area, this shoe will work a little bit better. In terms of your cushioning systems, your Hurricane is always going to feel a lot softer. With that Power Run Plus running all the way through the shoe, it is going to feel a lot more bouncy and also plush all the way through. So when you kind of heel strike, you're going to sink into the shoe a lot more, and it's going to bounce you off nicely at your toe. Whereas the Gel-Kayano is going to put up a little bit more resistance in the heel, but still have that nice soft cushioning at your forefoot area. Looking at the outer soles, tons of rubber under both shoes. Durability, you're going to get heaps out of both. Easy 1000 Ks out of the Gel-Kayano. With the Hurricane, you could even probably push past that depending on how much you do pronate, but you got that maximum rubber in both shoes. Looking at your upper, I would say they both fit quite nicely. Fit and feel somewhat similar in terms of your upper. They both wrap around the foot nicely and give you that max kind of padded feel on the upper. I'd say the Kayano feels a little bit lighter across your toe box area, where the Hurricane does give you that more cushion feel throughout the entirety of the shoes. If you are someone who wants a slightly firmer stability system that does guide you a little bit better from your heel to your midfoot area, look towards the Kayano. However, if you want a stability shoe with a really plush cushion feel, somewhat similar to a lot of your neutral daily trainers, look towards the Hurricane. Putting the Kayano up against the Guide real quickly by Saucony. This shoe is a great shoe as well. It's just you step down from the Hurricane in terms of your cushioning. So both stability shoes. Your Kayano is again going to provide your foot with a lot more guidance throughout your heel to midfoot area, where the Guide only has that slight little bit of medial posting. It's not too firm underneath the foot, so if you're someone who only wants a little bit of stability, lean towards the Guide. Cushioning, they somewhat feel similar. The Guide will feel slightly softer just with that power run they are using. This shoe is a very nice shoe. It's going to feel a lot lighter, so if you're chasing kind of a lighter stability system, look towards the Guide. But again, I do stress this, if you do pronate a lot more, look towards the Kayano, because this is kind of just that semi-stability shoe. If you're someone who even kind of has a medium to high arch, you could get away with running in this because there's not a whole lot of stability on the inside of the foot. So overall, both shoes wrap around the foot really nicely, feel quite well. Again, the Kayano will be more stable underfoot, whereas the Guide is going to feel a lot lighter and a little bit more snappy. Asics Gel-Kayano 27 up against the Hoka One One Arahi 4. Arahi 4. Yeah, both some of your best stability systems on the market right now. The Arahi uses a full J-frame wrapping around your heel, and that goes all the way to your forefoot. So this does provide that stability throughout your heel, your midfoot and your forefoot for someone who does pronate. The Kayano stability system will feel slightly harsher, as the Duromax and the Trussic is a little bit more firm than the dynamic stability system you find in the Arahi. So again, slightly firmer stability system, a little bit softer. In terms of your cushioning under the foot, this is probably your biggest separator between the two. The Arahi will feel softer underneath, and with that rocker sole, it will take a little bit more pressure out of the joints. So when you come down on your heel in your Kayano, they rely on that gel cushioning to take that shock away. It does an alright job, whereas your Arahi uses that rocker sole. Just a newer way of doing things. A lot of people love the rocker sole, and once they go to it, they never go back. However, if you're someone who has been running in the Kayano, this shoe may feel a little strange. So it is personal preference between the two. I would say the Arahi's underfoot gives you that more holistic stability approach, as opposed to kind of snapping your foot side to side. So I do think this guy guides you a little bit better throughout the step. However, both good stability shoes overall. In terms of your upper fit and feel, I would say the Kayano definitely has that little bit more of a runner's fit. It locks down that midfoot a little bit better. Some people do get a little bit of movement in the Arahi. If you are used to the Arahi or just Hoka in general, you're always going to go back to a Hoka because people love it. Looking at the outer sole real quickly, durability, you're going to get a little bit more out of the Kayano, probably up to about that 1000 Ks. We're using a softer stability system and a little bit less rubber. Your Arahis are going to kind of max out around that 800 Ks. Kayano up against Newbalance 860, both great stability shoes and both have been around for quite a while. The Kayano's still been around a lot longer than the Newbalance has. However, in terms of a stability shoe, people often alternate between these two, or just have worn both at some stage. The 860 uses that traditional medial posting on the inside of the foot, coupled with that nice soft cushioning all the way through, but it's pretty stock standard shoe. That cushioning system does work well, and for a wide foot, it is kind of that bread and butter. The Kayano stability system will provide that little bit extra support, especially around that heel, whereas the 860's heel counter won't be quite as firm. If you're someone who doesn't want too much guidance, just that bit under the midfoot area, this shoe will work quite nicely. In terms of your forefoot splayed out, your 860s are a lot more splayed out at a toe box, so somewhat provides you with that little bit more forefoot stability. Your Kayanos, again, it's a very structured shoe, so it's going to guide you quite nicely, but it is quite rigid, whereas your 860 will be a little bit more flexible in your toe off area. Overall, fits and feels, I would say your Kayanos a little bit more dialed in throughout the shoe, whereas for some people, this guy here can get a little bit sloppy in the upper. If you're someone who has a lot of volume in your midfoot area and also your toe box area, and you need that kind of wider shoe for that bigger person, look towards the 860. Just as a shoe is known for doing that, it's going to work quite nicely for that wider foot. And yeah, overall, both good shoes. They both come in multiple different widths, so that's one thing they both got going well for them. So yeah, check that out. Putting the Kayano up against the Transcend by Brooks. both awesome stability shoes. In terms of your softness, it's probably the biggest difference between the two. The Transcend will feel a lot more cushioned underfoot, especially in that heel area. Just with that DNA loft cushioning they're using, Brooks' most soft, bouncy cushioning that they do have, it is going to provide you with that nice plush cushion feel. You're going to sink into the shoe a lot more in the Transcend as opposed to your dynamic Duro Max that they use in the Kayano. The heel cushioning system on the Kayano is designed to kind of guide the foot as opposed to letting you sink in. So the Transcend uses the newer way of doing a stability system. They use guide rails, so there's nothing in the shoe pushing it either way. It's just going to guide you throughout the whole step, whereas your Kayano does have a much harsher stability system on the medial side. Coupled with that trussic, it's going to be a lot more rigid underfoot. If you're someone who does pronate or roll in quite severely, I would look towards a Kayano just because it's going to give you that little bit more structure. However, if you find a lot of traditional medial postings or firm pieces on the inside of the foot irritate your foot a little bit more, look towards a Transcend. Just because that guidance system is going to hold you straight without manipulating the foot too much, and it's going to feel softer overall. Durability, both shoes are great. Going to be looking about that 1000 Ks underneath. Plenty of rubber underneath. The Transcend does feel a lot lighter than the Kayano, but that's just because it uses less stability aspects to the shoe. Both have a really nice dialed in upper on them, plenty of padding around the heel counter on both shoes, and both shoes give you that nice runner's lockdown. So in terms of a stability system, they both work really well. It's just personal preference. Some people lean towards a Kayano because it's that more rigid stability system, whereas the Transcend is going to give you that nice plush cushion feel, however at a result of sacrificing that little bit extra stability. The Kayano up against the Brooks Adrenaline 20, a fan favorite in terms of the Adrenaline. A lot of people go to it day in, day out for their training, and it is an awesome shoe. Somewhat similar to the Transcend in terms of the guide rails, so it's that newer stability system that doesn't manipulate the foot too much. In terms of your cushioning underfoot, forefoot area, I put the cushioning down to being kind of similar because the cushioning at your forefoot gives you that little bit of sink in, but it's nice and snappy. In terms of your heel area, your Adrenaline's going to feel a lot softer. Again, as I said before, the cushioning system in the Kayano at your heel is designed to kind of manipulate the foot a little bit and get you straight back into that neutral stance. So that's where it's going to feel a little bit more firm, whereas the Adrenaline does provide you with that DNA loft crash pad at the heel, so it's going to be that softer cushioning as you kind of come down on your heel. It's going to give you that nice sink-in feeling, and then you snap you through to your midfoot and your forefoot a little bit better. However, your cushionings are both good on both shoes. I would say if you want that softer feel, lean towards the Adrenaline. If you want a firmer stability feel, look towards the Kayano. Uppers are really dialed in. If you need a little bit more volume throughout your midfoot area, look towards the Adrenaline, as the shoe does provide you with that little bit more volume throughout that midfoot as well as that forefoot. If you're someone who does have a fairly high arch but you still feel like you roll in, lean towards your Adrenaline, as your guidance system isn't going to push you either way and irritate the foot. However, if you're someone with that lower arch and kind of not as high of a midfoot area, look towards the Kayano, as the shoe will lock you down across that midfoot area a little bit better. In terms of your heel counters, both somewhat similar in terms of your padding, but the Kayano uses an external heel counter which will feel more firm and lock you in a little bit better, where the Adrenaline's going to give you that softer feel around the back of the shoe. So that's about it in terms of your Asics Gel-Kayano 27 against other models. Didn't want to go in too deep in terms of breaking down the technology in the shoes. We do have more in-depth reviews on most of these shoes, so I'll link those in the description. If you want to know any more about the Kayano or just other shoes in general and what they compare to, let us know in the comments section. And until next time, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and yeah, catch you later. Both of them fit quite nicely. I would say the